Welcome to today's Energy Central webcast entitled, Why Utilities Are Choosing Web Methods for Integration. A few housekeeping notes we'd like to mention. For best results in viewing this presentation, we recommend using a wired high-speed internet connection, as wireless connections can be unpredictable. If you cannot get adequate sound from your computer speakers, you may dial into the audio portion using the telephone number listed in the right-hand panel of your interface under the audio section. Following the presentation, we will have a brief question and answer period. You may submit your questions at any time using the interface on your screen. Now I'm happy to turn the floor over to our speaker, Navdeep Sidhu, Senior Director, Web Methods at Software AG. Navdeep, welcome to the event. You have the floor.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and happy to be here. Very excited to talk about the utilities sector and why utilities are choosing web methods for integration. So let's get started. Although I still see people are joining, but we do have a full agenda, and so let's get started. And I'll try to go slow in the beginning so that we don't cover a lot of ground to begin with. So quickly, an introduction of Software AG. We are a global software company, and at Software AG, our vision is driven by customer needs, which is backed by both proven technology and a heritage in-depth process expertise. More than 70% of global 1,000 customers are companies are customers who have benefited from our products. And we are a very service-oriented culture with about 4,000 responsive team members with total revenues around €1 billion. And more than 2 million developers worldwide use solutions based on our products. So that was a little bit about the company. And let us talk about the customers as well. So from the logos here, which is a very small segment of the customers we have, you will recognize that we have had considerable customer success. We are very passionate and excited about our customers, and it shows because we have world's top brands trust Software AG as we have helped them innovate, differentiate, and win in their respective businesses. And now let us take a turn towards utilities. On my next slide, you will see some logos, some customer names, which are based on specific industries. And these are definitely not all the industries. We have customers in all major industry segments, but this is focusing on energy and utilities. You will see we have quite a few customers in this sector. And this is a very small list. We have hundreds of customers actually in energy and utility sector. So let's take a look at the agenda for today, why utilities are choosing web methods for integration. So first of all, we will begin with trends impacting utilities, and then we will take a look into what is the digital utility anyway, and how a utility today can become a digital utility which is ready for future business tomorrow. And then take a look at 5 reasons utilities are selecting web methods. And then talk a little bit about hybrid integration platform, what hybrid integration means, and how web methods is a leading hybrid integration platform out there. And then we will end with Software AG's digital business platform, the overarching vision, and our go-to-market. So let's begin with the key industry trends. So utilities are not a new industry segment, as we all know, but the business model is rapidly evolving. The deregulation or the re-regulation, the new renewable segment, the changing distribution model, and the whole concept of Utility 2.0 is basically impacting every utility, whether it's US, Canada, or rest of the world. So in some cases, the companies are going through the deregulation phase, and in some cases they have gone through the deregulation and they are looking at re-regulation. And in almost every country today, whether it is a developed world or the developing world, the renewables are impacting the business models everywhere. So the first point is all about business models and how utilities are coping with that. The second point is all about customer. The customer itself is changing. The customer behavior is changing. The customer expectations are changing. And now the customers are looking at connected home. They're using the new automation kits. They're installing them. They're looking at how they are using energy more efficiently. They want more access via mobile apps, and they want the demand to be very flexible. And they may have a few solar panels on the roof as well, especially in the European world. And they might be a little bit more flexible in when they want to run their washing machine, depending on the time of the day. So the business model is changing, the customer is changing, and there's also, the third point is all about infrastructure modernization. So the need for infrastructure modernization is being driven by many things out there, whether it's the need for smart grid, whether it's the demand for two-way grid communication, whether it's the smart meters that are now being used in millions and millions of consumer houses around the world. The need for modernizing the infrastructure is something that is unavoidable and has become the standard for today. And lastly, it is the goal of operational excellence, the operational savings, and also the visibility into every aspect of utility, whether it's generation, whether it is distribution, whether it is reducing the energy theft, or whether it is a simple way of using the force in the field, the trucks, the people, the equipment more effectively, or whether it is just simply to manage the responses to disasters in a more effective manner. The need for operational excellence is all over the place. So we talked about the drivers, and we talked about the trends, how the utility industry itself is being impacted. So let's talk a little bit about digital utility. We all hear this word, digital. If you've been to analyst conferences, if you're reading up on different research papers from different system integrators or research firms, you will hear the word digital a lot. So I personally think it's overutilized. Digital means different things to different people. But if you look at a high level, and if you put the utilities lens, you will notice that there are three things that stand out. First of all, it is the engagement model, how you engage with your customers today. You have to engage with the customer in more digital ways than ever before. You have to anticipate the customer needs. I think Forrester calls it the era of the customer. So customer is at the center. Put the customer at the center, and you build the products and the services around the customer. So you have to anticipate the customer need. You have to engage the customers in ways that you have never done before. You have to be on the Facebook. You have to listen to their tweets. You have to interact with these customers in ways that they interact with each other, and then the way they interact with other industries like retailers. And utilities have to engage with them in a similar manner, because there's a lot of disruption happening in the utility sector, and the customer is actually demanding, they are expecting that level of interaction. So the first point is all about customer engagement and how you can digitalize that customer experience and engage the customer in different ways. The second point is all about digital products and services, how you need to tweak, how you need to tune, and how you need to innovate your products and services to provide that level of service that the modern consumer is tuned for. So for example, you have to provide a mobile app. If the customer is on the go, if they're traveling and they want to be able to see their bill and pay it online, then they should be able to do that. You have to do omni-channel for them, whether they want to pay their bill on the mobile, whether they want to use smart payment, whether they want to make the payment on the website, whether it's a website portal. You have to cater to all those needs, and whether it is smart meter, whether it's IoT, all the trends that they are seeing in their life from other products and services, your products and services need to mirror those products that they are consuming from other sectors as well, which could be, a retailer, an insurance company, because that is how they are expecting the products, and that's how they are expecting to pay utilities going forward as well. And lastly, it is about digital operations. It is about analyzing. It is about visibility. It is about getting those smarts from the big data, and it is also about improving your asset utilization using big data analytics, and also from integrating all your existing systems, which may be in the back office, which may be in the front office, in a seamless way to make your operations better. And again, going back to putting the customer in the middle part, once you have the customer in the middle, and once you start putting your operations around the customer, you will notice that you have a better sense of what the customer expectations are, and then your analytics is giving you meaningful information to improve the customer experience as well. So if you look at all the trends, look at all the digital initiatives, and looking at different industries, and if you distill that, you will find that these are the three common grounds you will find for your transformation to a digital utility. Now we will show you a very complicated picture, and don't be afraid, this is actually your IT landscape. You will see maybe a ERP, maybe SAP or Oracle, some ERP in the screen, as it builds on the screen, along with some data warehouses, which is storing customer information, maybe some billing information, usage, historic, and then you have some systems on the left-hand side which you have built over a period of time, maybe some MDM systems for keeping your master data, and maybe some customer portals, maybe some department level service buses which are integrating a few systems here and a few systems there. And then over a period of time you have engaged, you have built more systems to engage customers and partners. But what it has done essentially is given you new capabilities, but it has made your life very complex. And then recently you added some systems for mobile devices as well, and also some big data Hadoop type systems as well to complement your RDBMS systems. So essentially the goal, the focus is security, better integration, performance scale, standards, adopt web services, REST, microservices to streamline tasks, decisions, data, and achieve integration. Looks pretty good, but what you have ended up with a pretty complicated picture. And it's not just you, everybody's in the same boat. But the million-dollar question here is how you go from this state, which is pretty complicated, to the next state, which is your future state to become a digital utility. So this is some numbers on the left-hand side. In the current state, most of the companies, most of the utilities today are spending 79% of their IT budget to keep the lights on. And how do you change that, right? So let's take a look at the future digital business platform. So this is a little bit, before we deep dive into utilities, how utilities are changing, this is the vision. This is the architectural landscape that we recommend that you adopt. So if you take the systems, everything that you have on the left-hand side, and you put it on the right-hand side, and just ignore the links for a minute, and then you put a nice ESP in the middle, a bus which connects all those systems, and you might have that ESP today. Maybe you're using it as a departmental ESP, not an enterprise service bus, but the goal is you have an enterprise service bus which is then listening in to all the events, whether they're coming from smart meters, whether they're coming from your equipment in the field. All those events are basically indicative of what's happening in your business today. And if all those events are being stored in memory with no latency, then in real time your customer service can get a feeling of what's happening in the field, and if a customer says, my service is down, then you exactly know what's going on, and you can give an accurate picture of how soon their service can be restored. So 4 things. On the right-hand side, you have tasks at the high level, which could be a customer service task, and they are powered by the decisions, the business rules, and they are being fed data which is in the form of events, which is resident in memory. So as things happen, these events are being tracked, and they are influencing the business rules, and then they are enabling the tasks, and they are also, and when the customer is saying my service is not being uh, my service is being impacted due to the storms, you can take an immediate action. You can route a truck to the area quickly, because now the whole platform is now connected all the way from the service desk to the automation desk. And now if you look at security, integration, scale, standards, services, this platform provides all of that, and it also takes that to the next level and puts a nice API layer around it, because not only you as a utility exchange information with the consumers, but you also exchange information maybe with other utilities, maybe with governmental organizations, and that API layer just exposes your data very securely, and also your business logic very securely to external entities. So this is essentially our vision of the digital future and how you should organize your systems, and whether you want on-premises or in cloud, this is our future vision for digital business platform. And this is how digital transformation will happen once you have this platform. So anyways, so we talked about the trends, we talked about the digital business platform, and how the new architectural vision will take you there. So let's talk about webMethods and what webMethods does for utilities. So this is another view of our digital business platform. It's a more capability-centric view before we go deeper into webMethods. And if you look at the core webMethods, we have API management and integration, and those are the 2 areas that we will be talking a lot more today, and how those 2 areas bring about the digital transformation for utilities. Okay, so we are going right into the webMethods and how it is enabling the digital utilities for today. And we actually have quite a few examples on how our customers are achieving the digital transformation using webMethods. So the first example we have is from a utility company. And this utility company was using webMethods for a long time for integration, but they didn't realize that the webMethods integration platform that they were using it can actually help them with their smart metering initiative. So this energy company is about 10 plus billion in revenue with about 20,000 employees, and they had 10 regulated distribution companies and one of nation's largest investor-owned electric systems, and they serve about 6 million consumers, and they generate about 100 million megawatt hours of electricity annually. And their business challenge was to design and deploy an advanced metering infrastructure solution to connect the integration and messaging linking 2 million smart meters directly with backend systems, and essentially bringing the company in compliance with the Pennsylvania Act of 129. And the solution that they put into place was integrate those 2 million smart meters to backend systems and applications using webMethods, and they created a resilient and a fault-tolerant infrastructure that is meeting their goals for today, and also this with the intent of putting many more smart meters, essentially covering all their consumers in the next 5 to 10 years. And essentially the outcome is to save them, bring them first of all in the compliance with the smart metering regulations, and also save energy internally, and operational efficiencies and make them a company which is ready for engaging customers in a more digital way. Okay, so let's go to the next example. It is a slightly different example and it's a non-US entity, and it is a company out of Asia Pacific, and they play an important role. They are an energy market operator, and they play an important role in supporting the energy industry to deliver an integrated, secure, and cost-effective national energy supply. So they had a local regulation that they needed to comply and modernize the gas hub for the gas retail market, and also to provide a B2B platform that could scale to support the adoption of B2B procedures in their local geography. So to connect the partners to operate a hub where different entities which are connected to that hub can exchange information and transactions using a nice hybrid integration platform. That was the goal, and they adopted webMethods integration to support the current interfaces to gas retail markets, and also to minimize any impacts on the participant systems. Again, superior connectivity, low complexity, and high scalability and resilience. These were some of the goals that they were looking at, and they were able to achieve all those goals. So very different from the last example that we had. This is a operator versus electric utility. But we intentionally chose a few different examples to give you the sort of the breadth of what is achievable and how are different utilities using webMethods. Okay, so a very different example. This is our third example, and it is very different from the other two. This company delivers approximately 1/4 of the total energy consumed in British Columbia, and they serve about 1.1 million customers in 135 communities with around 2,000 employees. And the business challenge for them was a decade-old customer information system, which had proven functionality, and it was worth preserving, and replacing it would have costed tens of millions of dollars. But they didn't want to replace it, but they did want to modernize it. They wanted some digital features, but they didn't want to rip and replace. So the business solution was to put a modern and a tightly integrated infrastructure on top. They were using some of the mainframe components, and in addition to modernizing that mainframe, they were able to integrate that mainframe very nicely with some of their newer systems, including their mobile app and some modern customer service systems, to basically build out a new web front end, which was very customer-centric, very customer-focused, and also it reduced their overall development costs by 30%. They were able to do a quick rollout, and the ROI they achieved with this project was less than 3 years. So this example is the fourth example that we have is actually from an Austrian energy company, and you might have guessed by now, SoftAG is a European company. So we are lucky to have a lot of customers in US and a lot of customers out in Europe as well. And this Austrian company is a service provider, basically focusing on the energy industry and also on urban services. It is part of a global conglomerate, and they have a number of energy companies within the umbrella group, but this IT company is one of the smaller ones within that group, and they have about 200 employees with a bunch of data processing centers, and they service basically all the companies within that holding company. And the business challenge was centered around payroll accounting and personnel management, and they didn't want to replace the system and lose the unique functionality and the security that they had built over a decade, but they did want to modernize it, and they also wanted to integrate that silo. You realize a 20-year-old system that has been built over 2 decades, and now instead of replacing it and putting in a new payroll accounting and personnel management system, they wanted to integrate. They wanted to have a modern operational efficiencies, but at the same time, they wanted to keep some of the features that they had built over time. So they again used web methods to integrate that system, that silo, and also put a nice web and mobile front end on top of it. So this resulted into a very economical solution which meets end user demands for a modern interface, and also it is web enabled in quickly just 3% months. So build new capabilities very fast and tightly integrate with the systems that you are keeping even for future. So that was our fourth example here. Now let's take a detour. So we talked about the trends, how you can be digital, what are the digital trends in the market today, and what is our digital vision for utilities look like from your current state to the digital state. And now we gave you a few examples, 4 examples to be specific. And now let's talk about why web methods. There are many integration solutions out there which can do similar things, but what is unique about web methods, and why should you, if you are a utility out there, why should you talk about or look at web methods? So the first thing we will mention here is complete hybrid connectivity, and hybrid connectivity can mean different things to different people as well. So as we go forward, we will talk a little bit about hybrid connectivity. In fact, it's on the next slide. We will have more information on what hybrid connectivity and hybrid integration mean. And also integrate old and new. And some of the examples I just talked about, they had examples where you wanted to preserve your older systems, but at the same time you wanted to integrate them with the newer ones. So some integration tools will integrate with old systems very well. Some integration tools will integrate with new systems very well. Some integration tools only connect cloud systems, but you really want an integration system, a platform that connects old and new and also is ready for future. And the third point is about deep industry expertise. We are lucky to have hundreds of utilities customers in gas, electric, water, and others, even telecom broadband type utilities across the globe, and we have deep industry expertise. We will talk a little bit more about that as well. And looking at future, you really want somebody who is looking at IoT and the future trends as well and is ready for you to take you into the IoT, smart metering, home automation type use cases as well. And the last point is about the vision. So instead of buying a point solution which only does one thing, you should be looking at a platform which is, the complete digital platform for not just one thing, but it can do, hundreds of other use cases as well. And we are proud to have industry's first digital business platform. webMethod is at the heart of that digital business platform. So not only you are looking at the integration, but everything else that Software AG brings to the table, which is its whole digital business platform. So these are the 5 unique capabilities at a very high level, and now we will go deeper into each one of these. So let's start off with hybrid integration and also talk about the cloud options. So as I mentioned earlier, hybrid could mean different things to different people. It could mean a different deployment model. It could mean that the tool, the platform, the product provides both on-premise connectivity. It also provides cloud connectivity. For us, actually, it means everything. Hybrid integration for us means that our integration platform, webMethods, is able to connect to everything that is on-premise and also everything that is in the cloud. So for on-premise, even for on-premise systems which need cloud connectivity, we have a product built on our webMethods integration platform called Cloud Streams, which is essentially an on-premise product you can install on-premise, but it connects to all the cloud options. On the other hand, if you just need cloud connectivity, then you can just use Integration Cloud, which is our iPaaS, and it connects to all the different cloud applications that you can think of today. On top of that, we think that when it comes to deployment options, it is imperative that we provide all the different cloud options that you can think of today. If you want to deploy in private cloud, we support AWS, Google Compute Engine, and some of the other options. And essentially, this is managed and operated by the customer. On the managed cloud side, we have webMethods integration hosted on AWS. It can be managed and operated by Software AG. And public cloud, and in the public cloud, Integration Cloud, which is our iPaaS offering, hosted on AWS and managed by Software AG. And also, it can be deployed on-premise, which is our Cloud Streams offering, which I mentioned a minute ago. It is hosted by the customer. Okay, so moving on to the next point, integration platform for old, new, and the future. This slide encapsulates everything that we want from the old and the new and the future as well. So you have databases, SAP, Oracle, package apps, legacy mainframes, and newly acquired big data systems. They're at the bottom. They're all integrated by an in-memory enabled integration platform. Our ESP webMethods is an in-memory enabled integration platform built on top of Terracotta in-memory system. And then it gives you application integration, process integration, data integration, big data integration, and also file integration, B2B partner integration, cloud application integration, API management, and mobile integration as well. So not only you can connect your legacy system, but you can also build your new apps on top of it. You can also expose your services for mobile apps. You can connect mobile devices. You can exchange data with your B2B partners. And you can also, on the right-hand side, you will see Internet of Things. You can connect with other IoT systems. We also provide very deep IoT capabilities. But if you have somebody else for IoT, we can integrate with them as well. So this integration platform is for old, new, and future. And we take pride in connecting to any other system. We are system agnostic. That means we, as a middleware vendor, as an integration vendor, we connect with every technology out there. Let's go to the next point, our utilities experience. And as I mentioned earlier, we have hundreds of customers across the globe in different types of utilities, whether it's fossil generation, hydro, nuclear, solar, wind, mining, generation, distribution. So we have customers using us across the gamut of the utilities, and they're using us for different use cases. We have amazing geographical coverage. We have utilities customers in every geo, and we also have utilities customers using us for different types of use cases as well. So let's take a look. If you're in the extraction business, all the way from field development to drilling operations to the mining, we have customers that we are serving in different areas. On the generation side, whether it's electric, solar, nuclear, or hydro, or fossil, we have customers and use cases that we enable over a wide spectrum within the utility segment. And for transmission, distribution, operations, for billing on the smart meters, as I mentioned earlier, and usage analysis, big data analysis, we have commercial, we have brokers, market operators, and we have IoT style your use cases that we enable across different utility segment as well. So our goal is to provide global visibility to both supply and demand signals with lean operations, asset management, with pricing and trading effectiveness, and also to streamline the meter to cash processes and enable the utilities to provide seamless customer service as well. And on top of that, I would just add that out that we also enable companies to meet all their new IoT initiatives by integrating those IoT initiatives all the way from customer-facing instruments, whether it's a Nest device, to the back-end billing systems. And since we are on the IoT topic, let's switch gears and look at our leadership in IoT as well. So if you break down the IoT thread into different chunks, and there is a thing, Internet of Thing, but we actually like to call IoT as integration of things because the things are nothing but internet-enabled sensors or devices or embedded devices which are essentially giving out signals or information that needs to be collected, monitored, optimized, analyzed, and then you have to do something based on that information. So think of an IoT device as a thing, a physical component which has some hardware and some software, and every millisecond, every second, every 5 seconds or 10 seconds, it is collecting some information and it is sending that information back to the IoT gateway using maybe a modern messaging protocol like MQTT. And then the gateway in turn is collecting that information from hundreds, thousands, or even millions of those things, and then it is ingesting that information and it is doing something with that information. And that something could be storing it in a database or a big data structure, or it could be processing that information in memory, and it could be integrating that information with some other piece of information, or maybe even presenting that in a visual analytic dashboard. And then after that information is consumed, analyzed, filtered, stored, you need to take some action on top of that information. And that is where integration comes in. With our integration technology, you can take that information and you can integrate that information into your sales, marketing, billing, operational, and every other system out there. So essentially all the way from the sensor to ingesting that information, to analyzing that information, to taking action on that information, we cover the end-to-end spectrum of IoT. And that's why we are one of the few integration vendors in the world who can claim to be leaders in utilities IoT. And we complement that leadership with two main things. At the bottom you will notice partnerships and co-innovation. We have a number of partnerships with the leaders in the IoT industry right now. There's a lot of innovation going on, and we have partnerships to take advantage of those innovation ecosystems. And also on the co-innovation side, what we call co-innovation is actually partnering with our customers. There are leading edge customers across the globe. We are partnering to co-innovate with them to establish our leadership in IoT as well. So with that, we move on to the next slide, and the next slide is a more of an architectural view of our capabilities with the digital business platform. So with the digital business platform, at the high level, at the top level, you will see enterprise IoT solutions, applications. You have predictive maintenance going on, you have smart logistics, connected consumer, and also smart production going on. And I think all these four are very, very relevant for utilities today. And then if you break it down to layer 2, you will see technical concerns like application development, the need to build more portals, expose more APIs, and also visualize more data. And it could be about customers, it could be about generation, it could be about energy trading. And take one level down, you will break it down into IoT services, and you not only need to integrate with consumers, you need to integrate with your ERP systems on the right-hand side. You also have to integrate with your partner networks and ecosystems, the energy trading hubs, other utilities, and your other partners as well. And combine that with your predictive analytics, machine learning, with your complex event processing, your in-memory data grids, your historical analytics for your billing for your consumers, with your visual analytics, whether it's internally for your company or for customers, and also the ability to integrate and enrich all the data flowing through your enterprise. You will notice that you need a set of capabilities that we mentioned at the bottom, which is lightweight messaging, edge analytics, the ability to collect data from IoT devices, device management, and embedded agents, whether they are embedded in your machines, in your devices, in your generation equipment, in your trucks which are out in the field. All that data needs to be collected. So this is a very functional representation of the view we showed you earlier, but this is all achievable with our digital business platform. So we are on the last slide. We have talked about the digital trends in utilities, why utilities are using webMethods. We shared 4 examples today, and we also talked about digital business platform and how Software AG not only enables you to become a digital utility, but it has a vision to be your partner for future as well. So what can you do? You can obviously ask any questions, or you can actually join us. We have 2 digital business days which are featuring Steve Wozniak. If you want to interact with Steve, he's a co-founder of Apple, as you may know, and he will be joining us in San Francisco on July 19th and 20th, and then in New York from October 3rd and 4th. So I will hand it back to PJ for any questions.
Thank you, Navdeep. Excellent presentation. For our audience, it's now time for our question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please feel free to type it right there into the question box on the interface on your screen. We do have a few questions on the floor. So the first one is interesting. It's asking, how is Cloud Streams different from Integration Cloud?
Yeah, great question. So Cloud Streams is our on-premise technology. If you need on-premise integration and you want to connect to cloud, then Cloud Streams is the product for you. It can seamlessly connect to all the cloud apps while not being in cloud itself. Integration Cloud, on the other hand, is our iPaaS, which is in the cloud connecting to other cloud applications. So we have realized that, everybody uses cloud, but they want to use it differently depending upon their needs. So we want to be as flexible as our customers' needs are. So Cloud Streams and Integration Cloud, they do the same thing, but Cloud Streams is on-premise. You install and maintain, and Integration Cloud is our iPaaS. And the other difference is in the UI. Integration Cloud is for citizen developer, citizen integrator. It has a very simple UI, but Cloud Streams is more for our IT users.
Thank you. Here is the next one. They're asking, is Terracotta in memory an add-on to webMethods?
So it is not an add-on. webMethods integration platform comes with Terracotta. So Terracotta enables us to do clustering, in-memory data, and a lot of other things from a scalability standpoint, from a performance standpoint. But there are other options that you can add on later on. If you want to do off-heap storage and whatnot, then there are some other options as well. But to answer your question, Terracotta comes inbuilt with webMethods, and we are industry's first in-memory ESP out of the box.
Excellent. Excellent. One question is asking, do you have customers in the gas distribution segment?
A big yes. We do have customers in gas distribution. In fact, um, we have customers almost in every geography when it comes to gas distribution. And some of the largest companies in the world involved in gas distribution are our customers as well.
Excellent. Here is the next question. It says, on average, what is the percent of cost reduction when comparing ESB integration compared to point-to-point?
It is hard to throw a number, but it is definitely huge. The challenge becomes depending upon which ESB you pick. Now, there are different types of ESBs, and some are very simple to use, but they have no features out of the box. And webMethods is something very simple to use, but we actually have 300 plus services pre-built. So once you are trained to use webMethods, you can quickly build and deploy integrations. I would say a rough estimate would be 50 to 70% saving per interface, but it could even be higher once you have webMethods, just because the way you develop, manage, and deploy those integrations becomes much faster. And one thing that did not come out of this presentation today is the DevOps. We strongly believe that in future companies will be building, changing, and deploying integrations much faster, just because the business needs will be changing much faster. So we are the only ESB which actually comes out with a DevOps edition, which enables you to do things even faster. So whatever cost savings you have with the ESB, we actually take that to the next level, because now you can change those interfaces and improve the code quality with automated testing way faster than ever before.
Excellent. Great response. Thank you. I have a question on the floor that's basically asking what would be the advantage of using webMethods over similar type products? Is there something folks should be looking for?
So, you know, I've been doing integration for a long time, and if you look at the integration vendor landscape in the last 20 years, there are about 200 plus companies or even more that have come and gone. They have disappeared, and the challenge with that is integration is so deep and pervasive that once you have integrations built in and the vendor disappears, then ripping and replacing and changing those integrations, it becomes a nightmare. So Software AG is a German company owned by a charitable foundation, and webMethods is part of Software AG. So we have been a leader in Gartner's Magic Quadrant 12 times in the last 15 years. And I repeat, 12 times in the last 15 years. That makes us the leading vendor out there and also the most stable vendor. And since we have been doing integration for a while, it is also the most feature-rich ESB out there. So easy to use with DevOps capabilities, very feature-rich, stable, and owned by a very solid company, Germany's second largest company after SAP. So Software AG, those are the few things I would say you would go with Software AG's webMethods.
Excellent. It looks like there's not any more questions from the floor that I see. So if something does come in, I will be sure to pass it along to the speaker for our audience. That's it for today. Navdeep, thank you for your excellent presentation. Some notes for our audience. We hope you've enjoyed today's presentation. But as you log off, please take just a moment to complete our survey and give us your feedback so we can continue to provide you with quality content. Thank you for attending, and this does conclude today's presentation.